Hey everybody, welcome back to another Nature's Always Right video. Today's another one from the Kentucky No-Till Growers Conference, where Jesse Frost will be our teacher today. This one is all about starting your seedlings. So talking about soil blocks, the different trays that you might want to use, and Jesse even gets into a couple things on bed prep here. His really cool technique of using a weed whacker to no-till take out certain crops like kales or things that are more hardy to take out that is harder to do with a knife, or when you rip it out with your hands it just explodes the ground. Things where you'd want to cut and leave behind to let the roots die. So lots of valuable information in this little video here for you guys, and just a reminder that Jared Smith of Jaredsville Food and myself will be teaching our own no-till growers workshop here in San Diego on February 15th, and we'd love to see you guys there. We're going to be teaching both of our two different no-till systems. If you'd like to learn more about Jared and his farm, I'll put some links in the description to a couple videos that I've made with him so you can see what his farm is all about. But he's going to be displaying, and we're actually going to be doing an on-site demo for you guys of making lasagna beds. And this is something that Jared's been doing a really long time. It's a great technique for opening up new ground and starting no-till beds. So we're going to show you that live at our workshop. In addition to his hedgerows, trees, all the different holistic methods he's doing on a larger 3-acre scale. And we're going to talk about my smaller micro farm style, where it's 30-inch beds, more Curtis stone, 8-inch pathways, microgreens, a very tight-knit group of crops that I grow because I'm on such a small scale. We'll talk chickens, we'll talk making your own nutrients as well, which is something very, very valuable to us farmers. Alright, well, go ahead and check out the link to the workshop down below. Hope to see you guys on February 15th. Really excited to host that workshop for everybody, and enjoy the video with Jesse.
Just boom, like pound it into the soil mix, wet soil mix, pop it out. Pound it into the wet soil mix, pop it out. And you can do, this is like, I think it does like 105 in one of our little trays, which are like these. Oh, you should also look at some of these trays too, because we've got the Winstrips, paper pot trays. We've also got the Haas sort of Winstrips. They're like different kinds of trays anyway. It's worth looking at them. Yeah, you fill up one of these. You fill up like 6 of these in 90 seconds. One in 90 seconds, or like 6 of these in 90 seconds. It's like and you got to be going at a pretty good clip, but it's, once you get used to it, once you get the hang of it, you can do so many of these, and it doesn't take any time at all. And the reason 6 is important is because that's what it takes for us to, that's how many we do for a bed of lettuce. We do 6 of these for one bed. Yeah, so the soil blocks, just everything about them, we've always loved how soil blocks perform. They're easy to transplant. I hate cell trays. I hate picking out the stupid, I just always break them and I waste a bunch of plants and I just don't like it. And I hate trying to pop them, and I know, people have good success with those, but I just have never, it's never been my thing. But the soil blocks, you just pop them out. They're ready to go in the soil, and you get a nice little block of soil. You're adding a bunch of organic matter. They're already like an established plant. Their roots are pruned. Yeah, the transplantation of those is so easy to me. It's just, it makes all the sense in the world. These are the Winstrips. So that's the value of that is supposedly has a similar effect of the soil block, where it allows the plant to air prune, meaning it's not going to wrap its roots around and around and around. And it seems to, it's not just this bottom piece that you can see. It also has like a kind of slit on the side that helps it to do that. It seems pretty effective. I like them. They're hard to keep watered. They're hard to pack, because when you're packing them, right? Like, these holes don't do anything for you. They just, soil mix falls through it. So you're like packing 2 trays to use 1, if that makes sense. Like, you lose so much soil mix through that middle part, and you kind of have to shake it out. That's kind of frustrating. Haas is kind of making ones. I don't know if they're making them, but they sent them to me. that are kind of similar. They've maybe got like a slightly smaller hole and they don't really have the side thing, but they're kind of cool cells, but they're enormous. Paper pot trays are really, this is super useful. These are like extremely sturdy. They're great for cells, like, or for micros. And obviously if you're doing paper pots, you have to get these trays because they're a different size from any other tray, of course, naturally. So this is the thing that always bothers me so much about paper pot is it just costs like $1,000 just to see if you want it, like if it's going to fit your system. You have to spend like a bunch of money, and you can sell it, but yeah, that's the one thing that's tough. You got to buy all the stuff to even be able to use it. For the right system, I think it's a great tool. But these trays are awesome. They're super sturdy. We use them for all of our micros and stuff. We really like that. And then these are the bottom waterers for the paper pots. They just got these back in, so I'm super excited about that. But
What's the cost on that?
I think it's 10 for $70. It's pretty, but they're gonna like they're super sturdy. This is the tine rake weeder, and it is utterly useless. It's great if you use it like a garden rake, but it's an expensive garden rake. It's what we use it for now is we'll cut like greens, salad greens, and then we'll just rake them off so that the whatever green is there isn't going to die on top and then rot and then cause an issue when we come for the next cutting. But the one that JM likes is the Two Bad Cats one, which is like the double-decker one. We don't own it, but it seemed, and I got to see it in action, and it seemed like it was really effective. So the idea here is that you have plants in the ground, and you're doing this, and it's killing all the germinating weeds around it without knocking the plant out. So you put the plant in, let it get established, weeds start to come up, then you come through and you hit it with the tine rake weeder that's not this one, and it does a pretty effective job at knocking those plants out of their roots. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I don't know. I'd like to experiment with it myself and just see like how effective it is, but it seemed to be working for him, and he knocked out like 6 beds in 2 minutes or something. And I'm talking like they were cultivated. So in 600-foot beds with a collinear hoe is going to take you 20 minutes a bed minimum. So that's a big time saver. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a neat tool. It has me rethinking that one. But the thing with JM's system, Connor's system, is that cultivation is key when you're mixing in native soil with compost. Even if it's just a little bit. And I see nothing wrong with that necessarily. They're mixing in just a small amount of compost with the top inch of their soil. But what comes along with that is weed cultivation. And if there's cultivation, then there's labor involved in that. And I don't know. I mean, they've gotten cultivation down really tight. They have great tools for this now, and they're really effective at using them, and they're really good at timing them. But it's still labor. And I don't know. I sometimes like cultivating. Sometimes somewhat enjoyable just to be out there with a hoe, but I mean, it's not enjoyable in June when I need to be planting or harvesting. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that like developing a system that doesn't rely too much on those sorts of cultivation as much. I mean, it's like you look at what Daniel's doing, and did we talk at all about cultivation tools? No, it doesn't do any, it doesn't do any cultivation. And it's a huge, that's what I thought farming was for years. I was like, oh, farming isn't about food. Farming is about, you get your hoe out and you spend 8 hours a day, just going out there and knocking out weeds and cultivating everything. But it shouldn't be. No, that's not, I mean, it should be planting and harvesting and, hanging out with your community and talking to your customers. That's what the focus, those are the things that the focus should be on. But, if you can do it really fast and effectively, and you can make the kind of numbers that people like JM and a lot of those, sort of the market gardeners are doing, that's great. That's great. But it will rely more on effective tools. It's much more about the tool. So, yeah, things like this have literally become like leaf rakes for us because we don't need them as much. This is the blade that we have on our. We talked about the spin trimmer technique for flipping beds. This is the blade that we got, and you just get. You can get any sort of bush blade for that, but then when you're using it, and I'm not really going to turn it on, but you're basically just hitting below the kale or below the broccoli or below the Brussels sprouts just to get it below the surface. It's pretty fast. It's kind of loud. I don't know. I don't know that using a weed whacker is my favorite thing. That's why I kind of prefer the the flail mower when we can use it, or if if we really don't feel like using it, we'll probably we can just cut it out by hand. But super efficient, and then you can rake those up, rake whatever material you've cut off to the side, and just go replant that bed. So it's super fast.